Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Racha HaKodash. And double honors to the elders of the apostles, the middle great millstone. And to the rest of the brethren on down that's teaching and preaching the true doctrine of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Shalom by Yahshua Davadah. And to the Akim and Akwat that's out to repent, to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who fathers go back to one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob Yasha'Allah. Shalom to you, Mashpacha. Where is the revived Roman Empire? AI overview. The revived Roman Empire is a concept found in some interpretations of biblical prophecy, particularly in the books of Daniel and Revelations, and is not a real existing political entity. Lie. And is not an existing a real and is not a real existing political entity. Lie. This empire is believed to be the powerful global government that will arise in the end times, potentially encompassing 10 nations and led by a figure known as the Antichrist. Yeah, I show you the empire of the Antichrist, the Edomites. See, let's grab the other one. Is America revived Roman Empire? AI overview. No, America is not widely considered to be the revived Roman Empire. While some people, particularly those with prophetic interpretations, have suggested that America, while some people, particularly those with prophetic interpretations, have suggested that America might be fulfilling a similar role of the Roman Empire in biblical prophecy. This idea is not universally accepted. I bet it's not. By the unlearned, it's not accepted, and those that know that America is the revised Roman Empire, it will not be publicly accepted, because why? It's their empire. See, and they know that it's an income. But we're gonna go into some scriptures. But first, I'm gonna read this book. It's in this book called the Imperial Rome, right? I think what it says, the Great Age of Man, Imperial Rome. But I want to read something in here, and it's at page 160 and 1 to 163. Let me read that, and we'll grab a few scriptures. And we go read right here to the right of the screen where it says the founding fathers. You see it right here? And it says what? I was going to read it out of my book, but I wanted to punch it up so individuals will see it, so people will see this rather than hear it, right? And you see what it says right here. And this is in the book of the Imperial Rome in page 160. And it says what? The founding fathers of the American Republic also studied and consciously emulated the Romans. They quoted liberally from Roman authors and often signed themselves by Latin names. Thomas Paine called himself Atlanticus, and the American Tory Joseph Galloway referred to his correspondence with the British Whig leader Charles James Fox as letters from Cicero to what was it? Cicero. Well, it didn't give me that, but let's continue here, right? And it says, line the second. It says, John Adams spent nights alone in his room, declaiming the orations of Cicero aloud. An architect, Thomas Jefferson led a Roman revival. Of a what? Of a Roman revival. So this is letting you know right here that this is the revived Roman Empire. Thomas Jefferson led a Roman revival. He designed his own house, Monticello, meaning that thing Monticello or Monticello, but it's Monticello, but it's Monticello, that thing that's on the back of a nickel. That when people think, oh, that's a Capitol building. No, that's a plantation. That's Thomas Jefferson plantation that's on the back of a nickel. That's what this is talking about. Thomas Jefferson led a Roman revival. He designed his own house, Monticello, in what was essentially the Roman style. He modeled the Virginia state capitol after the mansion, Curie, an old Roman temple in Nimes, France, and he designed the library of the University of Virginia as a small-scale pantheon of brick and wood instead of marble. The architecture of the old Roman Republic. The what? The architecture of the old Roman Republic. He believed was ideally suited to the structures of the new American Republic. You see what that said right there? You see? And that's why you got the Capitol building, Washington, D.C., and all these other places. Their pattern they build after the Roman Empire. Because why? This is the Roman Empire. This is the revised Roman Empire. See? Now, I couldn't punch up this other one in page 163, so I'm going to read it out of my book. And it says page 163, probably around the second paragraph. It says, yet the old plan of the Forum Romanum has never lost its broad appeal. In the great cities of latter centuries, the frequent arrangement of imposing structures around large areas of open space has continued the Roman idea in practice, as in Washington, D.C., for example, where the Roman-style Capitol building stands at the end of the Great Constitution Mall. You see that? So this is the revised Roman Empire. Let's get these scriptures. So what did it say pertaining to those that would have this information? Those, particularly those with prophetic interpretations. And what are the prophetic interpretations? It's in the book of Daniel. It's in the book of Revelations. That's where the prophetic interpretations is for this fourth kingdom, this fourth empire. And let me grab this real quick, just a quick one. Romans, the 13th chapter, right? And let's start up at the top. Now it says, the beast from the sea, meaning what? He saw another empire rising up out of the sea, rising up in the earth. See, this is what he saw. Matter of fact, before I do that, let me go to Daniel first, right? Daniel 7, right? Let's read this right here. Daniel 7 and 2. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. The four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Now, who was these four great beasts? These four empires that was going to rise into the earth. This ain't talking about all the little small little other empires that came into the... No, it's talking about these four major empires. After that one major empire fell was the Egyptians, the Matazarium. After that, Most High destroyed that empire. They wasn't going to be ruling on a mass scale no more. You had four more came up. Now, you had one other came up after them, which was the Assyrians. But he's more focusing on these four major empires that's going to come into the earth. See, which was who? Ancient Babylon the Great, Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greeks, and the Roman, right? And it says four great beasts. This the one we focusing on is the fourth beast, right? Now, that was Rome. But then you got two parts of it, which is the feet, the legs of iron, and the feet of toad. Now, let's go down to it real quick. This is describing right here these four empires. Verse 7 is what? And this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth, and devoured and brake in pieces, and stomped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up another among them, another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. You see that? And hey, these motherfuckers boasting their ass off right now. They boasting to be these great people, but they some peasants. Ain't nothing but some peasants, and they end is at hand. They end is at motherfucking hand, man. Right? And then it says what? Now we gonna go down though, right? I'm gonna come down to the point. Right? It's being mentioned again, right? When you go into Yahweh Shah coming and having to leave to fulfilling that Daniel 9 and around 25 to 27. I ain't gonna go to it. See, and then he gonna come back and they gonna be destroyed, right? That's that final kingdom that's gonna be, right? But I'm just coming down to my point, right? What I want. 17. Daniel 7 and verse 17. These great beasts which are four kings. Who? 4 kingdoms. You see what it says in NLT? These four huge beasts represents the 4 kingdoms that will rise from the earth. You see? So when it says that I saw 4 beasts rising up out of the sea, meaning he saw these 4 beasts coming and rising into the earth. See? So we're in the 4th one right now, right? We're in the 4th one right now. Now, let me go back first. Let me go back to Revelations, the 13th chapter. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. Now, when it says the name of blasphemy, who is it talking about? People be, is it talking about America? Show me America. Show me where it says, I need to see where it says America. It says what? On his head's the name of blasphemy. See, and what's the form of blasphemy? These people was there against the Most High. Whatever the Most High said how something is supposed to be, they will operate their empire contrary to what the Most High said how something is supposed to be. Now, who does that? The Edomites. That's who. See? But, matter of fact, let me just grab this real quick. Revelations, Slakia. Revelation 17, right quick. Right? And let's come down to it. Revelations 17 and verse 5. Now, well, I'll come back to that. But let's grab this. Let's continue. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Now these things right here, it says the beast was like unto a leopard. When you go back, it's just taking the attributes of these ancient kingdoms that rose into the earth. Those out of those 4, and it said I saw 4 great beasts rising up into four great kingdoms rising in the earth. Now, when you go to What's that? Is that Daniel? I think it's Daniel 7. Let me go back to Daniel 7. Slock it. Let's go back to Daniel 7. Fuck. Fuck. Let me just go to it. Right. Let me go click back to that 13 right quick. Let's go to Daniel 7. Is that 7? Yeah. Let me see. Daniel 7. Now, reading right here, verse 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle wings. Now, we know the Assyrians, they had the seal as a lion that had eagle wings too. And Nebuchadnezzar's empire, he used the lion with eagle wings as his symbol. And the lion simply seen it's a ferocious beast, and the wings signifies they was going to go over certain lands and conquer certain lands within his empire. That's what the wings symbolize. The wings symbolize that this lion is going to go over and fly over these different lands and conquer. The lion is a beast of conquering, of devouring. So that's what it's talking about. And it says what? I beheld till the wings there were plucked. Meaning what? He fulfilled his thing of conquering lands. He wasn't going to conquer no more. And it says what? I beheld till the wings there were plucked, and it was lift up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Meaning he wasn't going to conquer no more. He didn't conquer all he was going to conquer, and that was it. Another, what it says, Daniel 7:5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, and the mouth between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. Because a bear is synonymous for a ferocious beast. See? So it just took these attributes. You got the lion right there, and you got the bear, right? And then we already know that leopard, what did it say right here? And this, Daniel 7:6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. So now here he go a leopard being shown, not the lion that had eagle wings on it. This is a leopard. And who was this leopard? This was the empire of the Greeks. You have the bear, that's synonymous for the Medo and Persia empire that was going to conquer. Then you have this, the leopard, which is synonymous for the Greeks. Alexander the Great and his 4 generals that came up after him, and their sons that came up after them. See, and it says, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to who was the 4 heads? Lysimachus, Cassander, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. That's the 4 heads. See? And what it was going to do, that the 4 wings that came up, the 4 wings went with those 4 heads. That was going to do what? That was going to try to conquer and take lands and they all tried to consolidate to get the power that Alexander had. Ptolemy did, Seleucus did, Antiochus, after Seleucus, Antiochus got his part. They all tried to get that empire, get the power that Alexander had in their hands. And as these Edomites was fighting against each other. But ain't no need to go into that, but I'm just making a point. Then you come down here, and it says what? After this I saw the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. Salakia, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. See, so let's go back to Revelation 13. Revelation 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, taking the attribute of what? The empire of the Greeks, taking the attribute of the leopard to form up this final beast that he's seeing. It's taking the attributes. And it says what? And his feet were as the feet of a bear, taking one of the attributes from what? the Medo-Persian Empire, which was the bear rising up a bear that had the 3 teeth in his mouth, is taking the attribute, the feet of the bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And when it said the mouth of a lion, it took the lion from the empire of who? Nebuchadnezzar's empire, the lion that had eagle wings. And then it said the mouth of a lion. Then what it said pertaining to it had great iron teeth. See, it's just taking up the attributes of those ancient kingdoms to form up this beast. This is what he doing right here. This is what he saw. See, that's why when you go back into Daniel, Slakia, when you go back into Daniel, the 2nd chapter, right? And then you come down, I think around verse 32, around there. Right here, verse 35. Now, it's speaking about what? All these empires, when Yahushua destroyed them, when he destroyed the first beast which is the feet and toes, let's read it. Daniel 2 and 35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of a summer threshing floor. Now it says what? The iron, what was the iron? The iron was the legs of iron to fort the Roman Empire. And it says the clay. What was the clay? The clay was the feet. Part of iron and part of clay, that was the feet. It says the brass. What was the brass? The brass was what? The belly and thighs of brass when you go into the kingdom of the empire of the Greeks, when you go back up further into this chapter. And then it says what? The silver. Who is the silver? The chest and arms of silver, that was the Medo-Persian Empire. And then it says, and the gold. The gold was what? The gold was the head, Nebuchadnezzar's empire. So you mentioned it right. It's speaking what? That great image that Nebuchadnezzar saw, it's going to be the end of all of it. See? That's why it says in the stone that was cut out with our hands, smote the image upon the feet. When that image fell down, that was the end of all these other empires that was in the earth. It's already the end of Nebuchadnezzar's empire. It's already the end of the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greeks, and the Romans. Now we're in the final leg of the Roman Empire, which is those feet and toes. And once that be destroyed, that's it for it. That's it. So that's all this is saying. See? And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That's the kingdom of Yahweh Shemel Shai that's going to be in the earth, the throne of David. You see? So we understand that this is modern day Rome. See? But let's go back though. Let's go back to Revelation 13, right? And it says what? And I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death. What was one of the heads that was wounded to death? The 6th head. And his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. See, and it says what? All the world wondered after the beast. When his deadly wound was healed, that was them coming back into the earth during the time of the Renaissance period. See, which was the 7th head, which goes back to the time of the British Empire. And then who stemmed out of that 7th head. That's why when you go to Revelation, the 17th chapter, Revelation 17, let's go down to it real quick. You know what, man, let's start here. Let me see. Hey, hey, you know what? Let me see. Hey, you know what? Let's start at 5. It says Revelation 17 and 5. And upon her head was a name written, Mystery, Babylon. Now, what it said, didn't it say, and upon her head was the name of blasphemy, right? Upon his head was the name of blasphemy. But let's just continue. Matter of fact, I just continue, right? But it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great. Why is it referred to as mystery? Because it's a mystery. And guess who the only ones that's gonna understand this? Those with the prophetic interpretations. See? Those secrets. The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Who is it talking about? Well, we know it's talking about America, man. It ain't talking about no other place. It's talking about America, Babylon the Great. And it says what? And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. Why? Because this is where the Israelites' blood had been shed in what? Spiritual Sodom in Egypt. This is where our blood been shed at. And it says what? And with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And who's going to be those martyrs? When you go to Revelation's 20th chapter, it tells you about those martyrs that was slayed in Babylon the Great. See? You can say, oh, it said the martyrs. Motherfuckers talking about Babylon the Great. They ain't talking about when we was in our land. When the apostles of old was slaughtered and killed when their time came. It ain't talking about them. It's talking about Babylon the Great. And it says what? The blood of martyrs of Yahushua. And who was those blood of martyrs? Didn't it say when you go into second Ezra, it says and they persecuted them that stood so that had the testimony of Yahushua. Well, you get the point. Just roughly paraphrasing. You got that in second Ezra 13th chapter. What is it? Second Ezra the 15th chapter, or is it 16th chapter? One of them. I had to go to it, but not now. But the point I'm making is, roughly paraphrasing, it says what? When you go to Revelation the 20th chapter, it speaks about those martyrs. That's what it was going to happen. So right, what it says, right? And with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua, and when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, wherefore do thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carrieth her. And what is the woman? The woman that ride on the back of the beast. Is who? That beast that John was describing. That beast that had those 7 heads and 10 horns. Those beasts that had the body of a leopard and the feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion. The mouth of a lion that had iron teeth. See. And it says what? And of the beast that carried her, which had the 7 heads and the 10 horns. You see that? The 7 heads is what? These Edomite empires that rose up during the time of the Renaissance period. What is it? You got Germania Major, Germania Minor, Greece, Spain. What else? Rome, the British, and the French. Those are the 7 heads that rose, these Edomites. And then the 10 horns, that ain't nothing but the beginning stages of the beginning of those 10 other Edomite nations. See? Basically the European Union and so on and so forth. See? But then going back, and it says what? The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. What was the beast that was and is not, and ascended out of the bottomless pit? When you go into Revelations, starting in verse 20th verse, and you go to verse 1, 2, and 3, that's describing the Roman Empire that was. And it went into the bottomless pit, meaning Rome. They went dormant for that 1,000 years. Those Edomite rulerships, they went dormant for 1,000 years. The Byzantine Empire came into play for 1,000 years. Around roughly close to it, around 900 or something years, but you can say 1,000. You see, and then after that, they came that beast that received the deadly wound. They came back into power again when they was revived, when that beast came back to life. And it says what? The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. What is that talking about? So let's go to it real quick. Revelations 20. It says the beast that shall ascend out of the bottomless pit shall go into perdition. Right? Now, when they go into perdition, this is talking about the feet and toes. That final judgment that's going to come upon these damn Edomites. Right? Now, This is the beast that was and that went into the bottomless pit. Revelations 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, who the Edomites during the time of the Roman Empire, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and what? And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should not deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season. Let's go down. When that beast came about of that bottomless pit. And it says what? And verse 7, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan, who that devil, that dragon, and the devil is Satan, that shall be loosed out of his prison. This is the Renaissance period. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. And you already know what it's talking about. To do what? To gather for the battle. For World War III, right? But you see, this is what it's talking about. See? And it says it goeth into perdition. Who is these that's going to go into perdition? I ain't even want to go grab all this, but hey, let's grab it. 2 Thessalonians. It's just the spirit. 2 Thessalonians 2. And who is that beast that goeth into perdition? It says what? Verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come, except they come a falling away first. That's us, falling away. We had to go. We had to fulfill that lot of going into captivity, falling away from the Lord, and now we falling back to the Lord, right? And it says, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. You see that? That son of perdition. Now we already know who the son of perdition. I ain't finna go into that because it'd be even longer. But I want to go back to it. Revelations 17. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. What was that beast that was and is not? That was and is not shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. What beast came out of the bottomless pit? I just read it. And goeth in perdition, into perdition. It's talking about what? That beast that rose about that it's the final. It's talking about the final defeat and toes. The Edomite Empire that's gonna come back into the earth. That revives themselves during the time of the Renaissance period. The Renaissance goes into rebirth. When you revive something, meaning it's coming back to life. See, and what? And they that dwell upon the earth shall wonder, whose names they what? They marvel, they wonder after the beast, right? And it says what? Whose name was not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. See? Who was that beast that was and is not? That was the Roman Empire. See? And then it says what? That and what? That is not and yet is. Meaning what? You had that seventh came into the play when they established the Roman Empire, and then boom, the eighth head, that America stemmed out of that seventh head. That's why it says and is, because this is what you see. See? And it says, and here is the mind which had wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Right? And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. You see? Who is the 8th? They talk about America, man. But these people want you to say, it don't say America. I don't see where it says America. That's what you said. Well, you don't get it. Because you don't understand the spiritual prophetic interpretations of Yahweh Shem Shah. And it is what? And is of the 7th. What? This 8th is of the 7th. And goeth into perdition. You see that? See? And who is this one that's going to go into perdition? Defeating toes. That Yahweh Shah is coming to take these devils out. See? So hey man, this America is modern day Rome, man. And I ain't even wanted to be that long, but hey, it is what it is, But I just wanted to bring out something when I woke up this morning. I just wanted to bring out something just to, hey, proclaim this truth because it's always on our mind, right? We meditate day and night, right? So I'm going to end it off there. Giving all honor and praise and glory to Yahweh Shem Shabbat Hashem Rakah Hakudah Shalom Yasharala Wa Abad Babal.